Not a great start by Steve Schreikart from the outside of the front row. It's Stuart Pywell who's made a good one. Good start from the second or third row. Good by Paul Cook there. And Paul Cook from row 3 is going to sweep into the lead of this race from Stuart Pywell in second position. And it looks like, who was that in third going through? That was Schreikart, wasn't it, I think? Holding on to third place through Redgate Corner. Now through Hollywood and down through the Craner Curves they go for the first time. And it is Paul Cook then that is leading. Stuart Pywell is second. And it's Wayne Lewis now that's got up to third place ahead of Swack. And then I think it's Andrew Pywell up into fourth position, who's moved up to Class 6 from Class 4 for this season.
A big slide. That is Andrew Pywell, isn't it? So I think he may have been in a few positions, but he's certainly further down than he was now.
He's just lost a position to William Lake as well, of course, in the Cup Class car. So that's a great performance from him. He should be coming through in a moment or so. I think that's him there going through shot. So William Lake going very well in that Cup Class car, the 325 Ti Compact. He's the best of those in qualifying. 27 starters we had, so we'd lost one.
Tom Singleton.
Qualifying. Tom Singleton, yeah. We're missing.
But I did wonder if Paul Cook was started a bit further back than we might have expected of him. He didn't do the whole sessions, maybe had a few issues. He did race in another championship a few weeks ago and didn't have a terribly great time. So he's back with the club he loves, the 750 Motor Club, and he leads the way with a real battle between his mate Wayne Lewis and Stuart Pywell for second. Yeah,
they're side by side as they head along the Wheatcroft Straight up towards Redgate Corner for the second time. Wayne Lewis on the outside line. I think, is he going to be able to sweep through? Yes, he is. So Wayne Lewis goes second. Possibly he's a little bit more used to running right at the front in this type of car than Stuart Pywell is. And now Wayne Lewis thought about going for the lead. He did have to have a dab on the brakes, though, as he went into Hollywood. So that's slightly stymied those chances. And Paul Cook, I should say, has been able to ease out by 4 car lengths all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's right. So interesting here to see how it's sort of shaping out the start of the season. Wayne Lewis going particularly well. Obviously, it was that start that Paul Cook had, which propelled him into the lead, but he's not getting away now. He's very much under pressure from the similar E46 M3s behind of Wayne Lewis and Stuart Pywell. Then Stephen Schreikart isn't falling that far behind them in that lesser powered compact.
And crucially, he's well ahead of his nearest rival in class, which is still Andrew Pywell, despite that off on the opening lap at the Old Hairpin. Paul Travers, third place within that class. But these three in the overall lead are absolutely going at it, aren't they? And now Wayne Lewis was having another look at Paul Cook, trying to line up a move down into the Robert chicane. But Stuart Pywell's not given up hope of winning this race either, because he's right with them as well. Through Robert chicane they go to complete lap 2, 17 minutes of the race still to go. And it's Paul Cook, number 26, that's leading from number 7, Wayne Lewis. Number 76, Stuart Pywell, is third. But then in fourth place, leading class 6, the 6-cylinder cars, is Steve Schreikart.
Interestingly, Paul Cook not going as quick as Stuart Pywell managed in qualifying. He did a 1:30 in qualifying, winning a 31s on that first flying lap of the race. And Wayne Lewis still put in the race leader, Paul Cook, under plenty of pressure. There's the champion from last year, Stephen Schreikart, the BMW technician from Lincolnshire. So he knows how to build these cars. He's got a very good car and he drives it really well too. This E46 shape compact that has a 3-litre engine. And as Ian says, he is a long way clear of his closest class rival, which is still Andrew Pywell, but he's 12 seconds behind. But for M1, for the overall lead in, it's very close indeed.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's still Paul Cook ahead at the moment. Wipers on, of course, on all three of these cars. The spray being kicked up, although not so much in the face of Paul Cook. Into the pits has come the Treble 8 car. That's a 330 Ci of Andrew Phillips, the Class 6 car. You can see he's a relative newcomer to racing with the cross on the back of his car.
I think he did a few Legends races last year, so this is very different. He had a very good first lap, up to something like 11th, but he's dropped back. But for the lead, it's a change. Wayne Lewis goes through ahead of Paul Cook, but Cook fights back immediately, and he brakes. The car gets a bit out of shape, so Wayne Lewis led for a few metres at the very least, but Paul Cook back in front. But I'm not sure if he's got the best exit, Ian.
No, I think Wayne Lewis is going to be able to pull alongside along the Wheatcroft Straight here. And it's Stuart Pywell sitting in behind both of those. Paul Cook driving at the middle of the road. He's going to protect the inside line. He's going to make Wayne Lewis do it the hard way unless Lewis can get a switch back on the exit of the corner. He's sort of been bottled up there a bit as Wayne Lewis. Stuart Pywell came into it a little bit more as well as they headed through Hollywood, but it's the top three still in the same order. Paul Cook, Wayne Lewis and Stuart Pywell in the number 76 car. The driver from Wakefield is St Andrew, a few places further back. He's dropped a lot further back, hasn't he, looking at the timer screen, down to 18th place now, so I think he may have had another moment.
Yeah, that's right. So a shame for him in the 3:28. But the race leaders together, still the top three. The Aim Shop fastest lap going to Stuart Pywell with a time of 1 minute 31.438, but very similar pace. Great battle throughout the field, though, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we've got the 77 car. That's Paul Travers. So he's now assumed second place in Classics, but he's trying to keep hold of it from Chris Blakey there in the number 27 car. Both of those in 330 CIs. Both of them have got the wing on the back, but they're just behind the number 4 car of William Lake, who's going absolute great guns in that Cup Class car. He is a long, long, long way clear of Paul Neville, who is second in that class. Just trying to spot
Gareth
it.
Thomas.
Gareth Thomas, I beg your pardon, in second. The last Paul Neville third in that class at the moment. You've also got involved there, number 67, Adrian Williams as well. But for the lead,
yeah, Wayne Lewis having another go at Paul Cook on the outside. I think we're soon going to be into lap traffic as well, which is a feature of the BMW Car Club races with a wide variety of BMWs eligible and entered. Sideways goes Wayne Lewis. He's very powerful 3.2 litre M3s. Tried to put the power on out of Redgate and they slide around a lot, as we had a good example of there from Wayne Lewis, who I think it's fair to say traditionally we haven't seen keep up with Paul Cook as well as he is today.
No, he's going well here. Conditions, as we say, possibly an equaliser, but a really good race this one. We've only had 7 minutes, another 13 minutes of it to go. Pywell with the best lap of the race, then that 1:31.438, but they're all within just over a tenth of one another in terms of their best lap times. And then the next group of cars lapping in the 1:32, Schweikart and Aidan Vilku, who leads in Class M2, and then sort of 1:34 bar those, as the leaders are turning their way through Coppice. Paul Cook just beginning to ease out again from Wayne Lewis, is he?
You mentioned Aidan Vilku there, Ian. This is his first ever race and he leads his class. That's a great effort.
It certainly is. He's in the number 69 car, 5th place overall, the sort of elastoplast colour on the timing screen for those of you watching the Aim Shop live stream. As the second and third place cars now, what are they? It's going to be about 3/4 of a second, I reckon, for Paul Cook, the gap this time. Let's have a look as they cross the line now. 0.755 off the circuit.
That may be Mike
Nash. Yes, it is. Paul Cook's just done the best lap of the race, by the way. The Aim Shop fastest lap goes to Paul Cook, 1:31.001. But Mike Nash, who was in 6th place, he was second in the M2 class behind Aidan Vilku. He's now out of the race. We saw him getting out of his car.
Yes, that was up at McLean's, I think, on the exit of the bend, on the inside of the track. So that hasn't gone terribly well. Paul Cook coming up to the traffic. The Z3 there just ahead. The only Z3 in the race is number 30, Matthew Smith. He will be the first car to be lapped, which may be in a yellow flag zone as they come up towards McLean's corner. So the drivers will have to be vigilant of that as they turn with a couple of cars just ahead of them.
Yeah. So there is that Z3 of Matthew Smith, who's a BMW Car Club committee member, no less. And he's raced in the MR2s in the past, as well as also a member of the Motorsport UK Safety Committee as well.
I'm sure he knew what a yellow flag meant.
I'm sure.
And everybody stayed in line until they passed a green flag, and then the faster cars powered through, still with Paul Cook leading, still with Wayne Lewis and Stuart Pywell in close pursuit. So they come down towards the Robert chicane. And they tiptoe their way through in these conditions. Again, try and put down what is well in excess of 300 brake horsepower these cars will have, as they cross the line to complete 6 laps just before the half distance point of this race. And Wayne Lewis, as sort of ever has been the way really, put in Paul Cook under pressure. Seen him get alongside a few times. He led very briefly, but not for any real amount of time.
I think the rain has probably stopped. I don't see too many umbrellas out there now, so I wonder if the conditions will improve a little as the race goes on. I don't think it's going to dry quickly. There's not a lot of wind, no sunshine here at Donington Park, so it's going to stay damp, but I wonder if there might just be marginal improvements in the track conditions as this race goes on. Will that come into play? You can see more lap traffic ahead of these trio in the lead. They're about 10 seconds clear of Steve Schweikart now, who's still leading in the Class 6. That's the 69 car of Aidan Vilku. We're talking about him. There's the fantastic Warstein livery on that car.
Yeah, he's only 24 years of age, so one of the youngest drivers on the grid from the West Midlands. And he's racing a 1994 BMW E36, which he built himself with his stepfather. So great to have again another new driver and going so well. Aidan Vilku leading the M2 class, which is good to see. Got a few more entries in it today compared to perhaps some races last year.
And he's closing the gap, I think, to Stephen Schweikart as well for 4th place overall. It looked like they were a little bit closer. There's Schweikart at the front of that little group and Vilku at the back of it. So I wonder if we might get a battle for 4th here before the end of the race. There's those couple of back markers that they need to navigate in the meantime, including the number 3 car. That's the orange car of Kaz Singh, which is actually in Class M1, but I don't think Kaz is enjoying these conditions over much today.
Good to have an E36 M3 out there, a bit sideways out of the chicane for Vilku, but he dealt with that okay. Got past the traffic and the gap to the car ahead, 2.4 seconds, which is actually what it was. I think it's the traffic here and the yellow flags up at McLean's that brought them together briefly, but now they're back into clear air. Schweikart able to get away and continue to lead Class 6. The 48-year-old ex-oval racer, last year's champion.
See the blue lighting panel flashing there, giving the same message as the blue flags.
What's happened here? Paul Cook has not got anyone for company.
He's not. He's got a back marker, which he has passed. And there's the next two, so he's got away with his 1.4 seconds clear over the line. So he's managed to make the break now from Wayne Lewis and Stuart Pywell. Yeah, a bigger gap. I think the car he was... who was the car that he was lapping there?
47 is in there.
Which is Delph, isn't it?
Yes, Stu Delph, who's another new driver. He's from Cambridgeshire, ex-Tarmac Rally driver. So again, another driver making their debut today.
We saw there the 71 car, which is Sean Foley in the E46 M3 GTR, the driver from Wigan. Mighty beast of a car. He's up there with number 77 Paul Travers in his more humble 330 CI at the moment. And just behind Adrian Williams and off has gone the Z3 of Matthew Smith. So that car, which was going all right, is now... Well, is it out of the race? He's going to try and just ease it back down the slope, and if he can get onto the grass, he can possibly get back into the race. But yeah, he's going straight into the traffic there.
Yeah, Matt Smith, 41 years of age, but he's a bit more experienced, as you mentioned earlier. He's raced Toyotas in the past. Change for second. Stuart Pywell is ahead of Wayne Lewis for the first time since the start, really. The driver who started on pole position, Stuart Pywell, up into second position, but he's 2.6 seconds away from the leader, Paul Cook. And now he's ahead of Lewis. Has he got the pace to do anything about Cook? With still a good chunk of the race left, 7 minutes.
Yeah. So we'll see what he can do. 2.6 seconds, 2.7 seconds the gap at the start of the lap. Looking at the gap between Schweikart and Vilku, that had come down for 4th place to about 6/10 of a second. So we'll keep an eye on that. There's Smith back into the race. He's managed to get back into the race, but I wonder if he might just head now back to the pit lane, in fact, because he's not at full pace by any stretch of the imagination. There's Cook with back markers ahead of him. Then it's Pywell, then it's Lewis, then about 18 seconds behind, or 16 seconds behind this now. You've got Stephen Schweikart with Aidan Vilku for very close company. We'll try and pick that up in a moment.
Yeah, Vilku on the last lap did a lap which was only a second away from the leaders, but they've just gone much quicker on that lap. Paul Cook did a 1 minute 30.9, which was the new fastest lap, but then 1.4 seconds quicker. Stuart Pywell does the fastest lap of the day so far in the BMWs, a 1 minute 29.5, so we very much have a battle for the lead on, although there is traffic between them at the moment.
Yeah, that did delay Stuart Pywell a bit there. He really was slowed up quite badly through Redgate. We saw pulling off there the very experienced Colin Whitmore, who's been racing BMWs for decades. He's out of the race. Stuart Pywell now has done the best lap of the race at 1:29.5, and that is quite a bit faster than anybody else, half a second faster than anybody else. The gap down to less than 1.2 seconds, although he was slowed up a little bit at the start of this lap, I think, at Redgate Corner. So we'll see if Pywell can continue to take time out of Stuart Cook as we're going into the final quarter or so of the race.
Yeah, 1.4 seconds to close in one lap is is a vast amount, but as you say, we're not sure how much of that was traffic related. And a couple of cars we've had into the pits recently, Colin Whitmore and now Matthew Smith.
Yeah, so Smith, of course, had the off at Coppice and has decided to call it, well, not necessarily a day, because there's a potential for another race later on this afternoon, but certainly call time on this particular race. Here are the leaders then, down to Roberts with less than 5 minutes to go. Probably going to be, it's probably going to be 4 laps to go, I'd think, for these cars.
Yeah, might just squeeze that in, shouldn't they? They're about 1.5 minutes at the moment. There's 4 3/4 to go, and the lead gap down to 6/10 in the second half of the lap. Stuart Pywell was significantly quicker than Paul Cook. Cook more experienced in the M3s. He's raced his car for quite a few seasons now after he switched over from the Toyota MR2 Championship, where he had plenty of success. Was a race winner there. I think he's been a race winner in the BMW Car Club before too, but he's been made to work to try and win this one from Stuart Pywell as they turn their way down the Craner curves into the old hairpin, taking different lines. Cook went sideways, which hasn't helped his exit. Stuart Pywell is quicker, and I think up top here at McLean's now we're not under yellow flags anymore, so Stuart Pywell could launch an attack if he's close enough.
Yeah, let's see if he does. So through McLean's they go. He's within striking distance now, certainly less than a car length between them. And he's looking like he's intent on making a move at Coppice Corner. Paul Cook's not going to make it easy for him, though. This is bringing Wayne Lewis back into things as well. So we're almost back to 3 for the lead, as we had been for quite a large chunk of the race distance. But you can see Stuart Pywell here. Conditions coming to him, maybe. He's looking either side of Paul Cook. Now he's looking to the left-hand side as they come past the engine room. Down towards the Robert chicane. For the 11th time in this race. It's going to be on the outside, on the wet part of the circuit. It's Stuart Pywell who somehow manages to get the car turned in without losing too much time. But it might allow Wayne Lewis to get a better exit from the corner now. Wayne Lewis, I think, is going to pull alongside Stuart Pywell as they come along the Wheatcroft Straight this time. He's going to be on the outside line. Is number 7, Wayne Lewis, for Redgate Corner. But I think he's already got the move done. So Wayne Lewis has got up to 2nd place there, thanks to Stuart Pywell being pushed out onto the wet part of the track at Roberts.
And now he's going for the lead because Paul Cook's set out wide. Wayne Lewis is up alongside him. These drivers both come from the Toyota MR2 Championship in recent seasons, but Wayne Lewis didn't quite brave it out there alongside Paul Cook. It's tricky at the best of times, let alone in these conditions down the Craner curves. Paul Cook, it feels like to me, and he's the slowest of these 3 drivers, but thanks to his good start, he's been able to stay ahead.
Yeah, and he's a very canny driver, quite a lot of experience now. He's been racing in MR2s and BMWs for a long time, so he knows how to defend, that's for certain, Paul Cook. And he's been doing that very effectively, and that's why we've got these 3 cars right together again, although Pywell, on paper, has been about 1.5 seconds quicker than Paul Cook during the course of this race, but not able to find his way through. That battle for 4th, by the way, that's dissipated somewhat. Schweikart in the Class 6 car, now more than 4 seconds clear of Aidan Villeneuve in the M2 class leading car. William Lake, by the way, 9th overall, still leading in the Cup class. But for the lead, they're going to be side by side down to Roberts chicane this time. But no, again, Wayne Lewis just backs out of that one, Josh.
That's right. I think the slightly drier racing line helped Paul Cook out there, and he was more confident, that's for sure, on the brakes. Now they cross the line with about 1 minute and 35 to go, so they should theoretically squeeze 2 more laps in.
No last lap board.
And now this time Cook and Lewis both on that wetter inside line. Is that going to give Pywell the chance out of Redgate to challenge the top 2? He carries a lot more speed through the corner, but how much space is there going to be?
Well, that's the question. Big, bulky cars, these BMW E46 M3s. Great racing they've provided here today at Donington Park. Paul Cook clinging on. Should have 1.5 laps to go then in this race through the old hairpin. Cook, number 26, Lewis, number 7, Pywell with the fastest lap to his name, number 76 in 3rd place. They're nearly half a minute clear now of everybody else. Such is their pace during the course of this race. I still don't think we've quite seen the last move of this race though, Josh.
No, and there's traffic just up the road. Kav Singh's M3 is the first of those, I think. So Coppice is the next corner. They arrive at the top of the circuit. Cook on compromised line on the tighter line, and then he's got a squeeze past Kav Singh, who steps aside for the top 3. Now we've seen Cook come under pressure a few times into the Robert chicane, but he's always been better on the brakes, better at turning the car in, and this time he hasn't got anyone alongside him. So down into the Robert chicane they come for the 13th time this race. Has he gone in too hot? He's run a bit wide for the second apex. That very much compromises his line, but he carried so much speed in. He had a bit of a gap as they head on to that final lap with the last lap board out.
Yeah, indeed. 3/4 of a second covering all three of them. 4/10 the advantage for Paul Cook. 1.98 miles of this Donington Park circuit left to go then. They're a long way clear of everybody else, but they're mostly in different classes, of course. Through Redgate they've gone, no real dramas there. Hollywood, is that Pywell trying to size up Wayne Lewis for a move? Well, that'd be through the Craners, which would be a brave place to do it. And yeah, no sign of the move there, Josh.
That's right. So everyone being pretty sensible with these moves. Nobody's done anything particularly bold, which is good. I'm sure many people would be pleased about that. So there's the multicoloured Pywell machine. I wonder if that was a planned change of car. That was last minute and it's been put together quickly for him, but he's certainly quick in the car. But he may come off worst of these three in the end, in third position. Don't think there's going to be any more traffic for the cars, for the drivers to deal with. So can Wayne Lewis get a good exit towards Coppice, or has Paul Cook on this final lap been able to pull out enough to stay ahead?
Kind of feels like he has, but in these conditions it's so easy to make a mistake. Good exit from Coppice for Stuart Pywell there. Is he going to get alongside Wayne Lewis? So the battle might be for second place here. Cook it is that's leading. Who's going to be second though? Pywell on the inside line into Roberts, and he's got it done, I think. So Pywell at the final corner is going to get second place away, but Paul Cook is going to come through to take the checkered flag and win round one of the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. Second place goes the way of number 76 Stuart Pywell, and third to number 7 Wayne Lewis. A nice move that from Pywell at the chicane on the final lap.
That's right. I think something happened on the penultimate lap a bit further behind, because Chris Blake and Sean Foley were involved in a battle. They both did a slow lap back to the pits, so good to see they got back to the pits. But potentially an issue for those two, so they're into the pit lane.
And despite what it says on the timing tower, it is still Steve Schweikart in 4th position, Aidan Vilcoon 5th. There is our Cup class leader. That's William Lake then in 8th position overall. He's gone really well, long way clear of his nearest Cup rival, Gareth Thomas, in 15th place. So he's had a very good start, and clearly with a name like Lake well suited to these conditions. He's heading down towards Roberts for the final time. He's got a car behind him, 4th position, that's Adrian Williams, but Williams in a different class, a Class 6 car for him this season. And it's going to be a Cup class win then for William Lake in 8th place overall.
And already come through the other two class winners, Stephen Schleinkart to win Class 6 and Aidan Vilku to win Class M2. That was a good race, wasn't it? We had a really good battle all the way through the 14 laps at the front of the field. And Paul Cook and Wayne Lewis, I think, were both certainly weren't early on entering, so they were late entries to this meet, or pretty late, but they were here, and they really added to that race, because they had a great battle with Stuart Pywell throughout, so that was really good to see, and a good way to begin the BMW Car Club racing season with good racing and limited damage.
Yeah, absolutely. So Paul Cook it was that won that 14-lap race by 1.217 seconds in car number 26 in his E46 M3. Second was the number 76, another E46 M3 of Stuart Pywell. Third was number 7, Wayne Lewis, in another similar car. Fourth and winning the Class 6 was number 43, Stephen Schweikart. Steve Schweikart in the E46 Compact, 36 seconds behind the leaders. Fifth and winning Class M2 was 69, the debutant. Congratulations to Aidan Vilku. Sixth to number 66, Mark Colmer. 7th was 17, Andrew Pywell. After his early dramas, he had to fight back through the field there. A fine 8th overall for William Lake to win the Cup class in car number 4. Paul Travers was headed by Adrian Williams. Those two rounded out the top 10. Then it was David Morris, Paul Laramie, Gareth Thomas and Carl McMillan in 14th place. Further back we had Chris Blake and Sean Foley, who had some dramas towards the end. Stuart Delph. Then the remaining Cup class cars, Jason Rees, Paul Neville, Stephen Kay, Ross Murphy and Sam Walton, with a few more, a lap or more behind, including Cass Singh. And we lost Colin Whitmore, Matthew Smith, Mike Nash and Andrew Phillips, unfortunately, from that race. Hopefully they'll be back out for race 2 a little bit later on today. That's going to be at about 4:10 this afternoon, the second BMW Car Club Racing Championship race. We've got one more race to come before lunch here, though, and it should be a cracker. It's going to be the Aim Shop Mazda 7 Championship, biggest ever grid of cars for that particular category, so we look forward to seeing that. They'll be going very shortly. We don't get a green flag lap for them either, so very quickly we'll be getting into racing. I can hear BMW's rumbling underneath our commentary position, so very shortly I would think we'll be able to head down to the pit lane to hear from our successful drivers in the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. Yusuf bin Sahel down there on duty in the pit lane today, who's had some recent expensive driving around Donington Park as well, unlike Josh and myself. So we can go down to him now. In fact, Yusuf is in the pit lane, and we'll hear from him with BMW drivers.
Well, I am here with Paul Cook, and Paul, there was a massive grin on your face, I think, coming out of that, because that looked like an absolutely fantastic race.
Yeah, it was a cracking race. I was the only person on the grid started with dry tyres. That's the only tyres I've got, the only tyres I've brought, so I had no choice. But I had a cracking start. I got off the line in between cars in front of me and got into the first corner first, so yeah.
I was having a massive heart in my mouth moment every time you went through that final chicane and your rear end would just step out on you, but you kept it under control. Were you at 100%? Because the two behind you were pushing you every single lap.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Every corner was very twitchy and very greasy, obviously because of the tyre choice. But I seemed to have it after the sort of midway through the race, but then it went away from me again because it is raining quite heavy down the back of the track. But I could see the battle going on behind me. They kept on chopping and changing. I had a massive gap at one stage, and then they pulled it back in, and they were battling, and it was a cracking race to the end.
Well, fantastic stuff, and let's hope it doesn't rain so that you can keep the dry tyres on.
100%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Right, we'll move on over to our next couple, which is the 69 Aidan, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Aidan Vilku, our winner in the M2 class. How was it out there in the damp conditions?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was, but with the tyres it felt all right. It's my first ever time driving in wet as well, and I was expecting a lot worse, so I'm quite over the moon, to be honest. I'm really happy with it.
Well, cracking job. What do you think of Paul putting dry tyres on?
I think that was very brave, very brave. I wouldn't have done it. I reckon first corner I'd have gone straight and not turned if I'd have gone dry tyres.
What do we reckon? Couple of dry tyres for race number 2?
If it holds off riding like it is now, then potentially, yeah. I reckon so. Fingers crossed.
Cracking job, Aidan, and see you out again in race 2.
Thank you.
Right, we will find our cup winner, which is William Lake. William, how's it out there?
Chaotic. To start with, it was a little hairy. I was way above, sort of qualified above where I normally am, so 10th, whereas I'm normally 19th or so. So just held it together. I didn't want to go off because I had good pace last year, but was quite inconsistent. So I kept it together nicely. So I'm actually really pleased with myself. And it was a bit hairy, but it was all right.
Well, a fantastic start to the season. You definitely looked consistent on circuit. Are you a bit of a wet weather specialist then?
Not at all. No, that was driving here today. I was bricking it because I'm pretty poor in the wet, or have been in races previous. So I just got to keep doing what I was doing, and yeah, consistency most definitely, especially in the wet.
Well, fantastic stuff, and it seems 2024, new year, new you.
I'll tell you at the end of October. I'm not sure.
Fantastic stuff, William. See you out again in the next race, and we will grab our final category winner, which is Steve Swikart. But I hear you've got a nickname around the paddock.
Swack, yeah, Swack is my nickname. Yeah.
Steve Swack.
Yeah.
I like it. Didn't swack anyone else circuit though.
No, it's not like that. It's my nickname, short for Schweikart, obviously. So yeah. No, it was entertaining race. Really enjoyed it. It was very slippy.
I can believe. What's the plans for race number 2?
I think dry at the minute. If it stays as it is, it's definitely dry. But who tell? I can't tell too much to everybody else, can I? So we'll see. I enjoy it. That's the main thing.
Keeping the car close to your chest then.
See, yeah. Everyone keeps looking at me though, so it's not good.
Well, best of luck for the next race.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we're going to head on over to a quick ad break before our third race of the day gets underway.